And I think the things we all want are simple, sensible, I think common sense things. We obviously want secure borders. We want safe cities. Sensible spending so that we don't have crazy inflation. We want freedom of speech. We want the Constitution to be upheld. And you know what? I'm being told at times that these are like right-wing values. I'm like, are you insane? This is literally the fundamental values that made America what it is today. And anyone who's against those things is fundamentally anti-American. And the hell with them. Yeah.
So if you do choose to be the head of the Department of Government Efficiency?
Yeah, those.
Yep. What do you think about we stop giving money to other countries such as Israel, Ukraine, and we stop funding forever wars that most likely is going to the deep state anyway?
Yeah. Well, I think in general the amount of waste that happens with the federal government is really staggering. It's a staggering amount of waste of taxpayer money. And if we're, for any given expenditure, we have to say, well, what does this do for the citizens of America? Like, how is this good for the people of America? It's their money. Like, for some weird reason, a lot of people in the sort of, state or whatever, the politicians, they seem to forget that the money being spent is your money. And if it's not being spent in a way that is beneficial to the American people, it's a misuse of the funds. So, yeah.
All right, guys, so we got to talk about Elon Musk, okay? Because Elon Musk has gone full-blown dark MAGA, okay? Dark MAGA Elon Musk. Honestly, this is probably one of the best things I've seen in 2024, right? Elon Musk going full-blown MAGA, right? So MAGA that he is holding solo town halls on behalf of Trump, right? In Pennsylvania, a state in which John Fetterman came out and acknowledged. He said, yeah, Elon Musk being for Trump and campaigning for Trump in Pennsylvania is a big deal because Elon Musk can really resonate with those voters out there in Pennsylvania, specifically the men. Take a look.
We're going to be seeing Elon Musk out on the campaign trail on Donald Trump's behalf. You said something recently to Chris Steyerwalt that he appeals to demographics that your party has struggled with. How much impact do you think he could have on this race?
No, that's significant. I've always said that it is significant. In the business, a lot of surrogates really doesn't count for much, but Musk, it's undeniable that he's successful. He's the world's richest man, and he's been involved in a lot of important things like SpaceX or AI and those things. And he has a brand, and that's attractive to a demographic that we need to have to win in Pennsylvania. And it's not even about his checkbook. Again, I think him being an active surrogate, I think the New York Times described him as effectively living in Pennsylvania, and he's going to be showing up and going around. That's going to be mattered. And the Democrats, for us to make fun of him for jumping up and down or that things, we would do that at our peril. It's significant.
So you think members of your party are underestimating the influence he could have?
Well, I hope not. I hope not. That's why I'm talking about it. It's like, when he showed up at the Russell building for the AI convention earlier, I witnessed the senators like, whoo, he showed up. I got to have my 3 minutes kind of a thing. So, he has a lot of appeal for people. A lot of independently minded voters in Pennsylvania. And as far as surrogate, that's definitely a significant thing for Trump having.
A major issue, obviously, in this election that we've talked about is abortion and also access to.
Yeah, Elon Musk is the man, right? And I think that John Fetterman makes a good point here about how independent-minded voters can resonate with somebody like Elon Musk. Because remember, he's one of these guys that I would probably classify as liberal, okay? A classical liberal, okay? That is probably what Elon Musk is in his heart. However, again, because you have the Democrats going so far left, they essentially pushed anybody that is not a full-blown socialist to the right. Okay, you're far right if you're not a socialist. That's essentially where the Democrat Party is at. And Elon Musk is one of these people that I think is somebody that represents, again, what I call the independent-minded voter that is open to leaning more right and open to some of the arguments that conservatives have been making for a long time now, okay? And he's like, okay, I don't have Trump derangement. Like, Trump is not the worst thing ever. I've experienced the disasters of Biden and Kamala Harris. They might actually be the worst thing ever, especially for him, considering how they are weaponizing the government to go after him, okay, to punish him because they don't like the fact that he is out here supporting free speech. And I think he's made the decision that, hey, you know what? It's better for me to be on the right side of history than for me to stay neutral or to be on the wrong side of history to allow the tyranny of the Democrats to continue, okay? And if you have independent-minded voters thinking this way and they can be influenced by somebody like Elon Musk, that is a good thing. We know that this is something that is happening because the media is currently having a full-blown meltdown. CNN and MSNBC over Elon Musk holding this solo town hall on behalf of Trump. Take a look.
All right, new this morning, people poring over the words from Elon Musk, the richest person in the world, who seemed to promote election lies and other falsehoods while stumping for Donald Trump at a solo town hall in Pennsylvania. CNN's Marshall Cohen here to explain. Good morning, Marshall.
John, good morning to you. Elon Musk on his social media platform almost every single day promotes election disinformation, but he took his show on the road last night for this first solo town hall on behalf of Trump, promoting Trump's campaign, where he brought up some of these 2020 conspiracy theories. I'll play for you a clip of what he said, but do not believe everything you hear. We will fact check it after the clip. Take a listen.
When you have mail-in ballots and no sort of proof of citizenship, it becomes almost impossible to prove cheating is the issue. There are some very strange things that happen that are statistically incredibly unlikely. So, there's always this sort of question of, like, say, the Dominion voting machines. It is weird that I think they're used in Philadelphia and in Maricopa County, but not in a lot of other places. Doesn't that seem like a heck of a coincidence?
All right, so there's three things here that I want to break down for you. Number one, he said with mail-in ballots, it's almost impossible to find fraud. That's completely false. All the experts I speak to say that the systems are in place. There are plenty of safeguards. It's actually pretty easy to find fraud, and fraud is extremely rare. Of course, mail ballots are paper trails. There's barcodes. Everything there is verified. Number two, he said Dominion machines were in Maricopa and Philadelphia. So that's Phoenix and Philadelphia. Well, they were in Maricopa, but Dominion was not in Philadelphia, period. So he just got that one wrong. And number three, regardless of where there were Dominion machines, the results were accurate. Democratic and Republican officials from Phoenix and Philadelphia have both repeatedly said that the results were accurate. Everything was tabulated properly there. John, it is interesting that Elon Musk picked a fight with Dominion. Of course, they're famous for getting that $800 million settlement out of Fox News for promoting similar lies.
Yeah, Dominion, not litigious at all, but then again, Elon Musk, he's got his own lawyers. Marshall Cohen, thank you very much for that dose of reality. Kate?
It's disturbing to me when you have folks that have not just the big megaphones, but credibility, at least credibility in certain parts and certain areas. I mean, clearly Elon Musk has done remarkable things as an innovator, and yet he is now talking about election interference and trying to undermine and suggest potentially that this election is going to be subverted. And that, to me, is very, very dangerous. And I always thought that the market pressures would prevent such a thing from happening, because somebody like that would say, look, I'm selling cars. I don't want to actually have both sides coming at me. And therefore, you'd have people who are focused on the truth And I worry about what's happening here. I worry about how divided not just the country is becoming, but actually that some of these individuals are being used in this way.
Yeah, so you see that, you heard that, okay? Full-blown meltdown in cope from the mainstream level media over Elon Musk going dark MAGA. And I think one of the things that has convinced me of Elon Musk and his sincerity is the fact that, yeah, this is not something that a billionaire who's thinking about his finances should be doing, right? I mean, it's not financially advantageous to do what Elon is doing right now, okay? The financially advantageous thing for him to do would be either to stay quiet, okay, be neutral, say nothing, just go about his business and do not get involved in politics, right? Or support Democrats, because we know that billionaires that support Democrats, they don't get punished, right? There is no real financial punishment for coming out here and supporting the Democrat Party, right? Because you're supporting the establishment. However, if you come out in support of Trump specifically as a businessman, then the establishment tries to break you, right? They try to bankrupt you. That's what they've been trying to do to Elon Musk. I mean, look what they tried to do to X. They tried their best to destroy X. However, they couldn't do so because X is such a good product, right? That even the leftists, they claimed that they was going to evacuate X, to leave X and to go to Threads, which is Mark Zuckerberg's platform. And look how that worked out, right? That hasn't worked out very well. Threads is dead. X is thriving. And by the way, what Elon Musk did with X, I think is a great example of what I hope he does with the government, right? Which is to cut it in half. And a lot of people were fear-mongering about, oh, Elon Musk, if he lays off all of the workers at X, the platform is going to collapse, right? No, the platform actually got more efficient, right? That's what happened. They say the same thing about the government. Well, if you cut half of the government, okay, then the government is going to collapse. As if, again, it's impossible to downsize the government. It's not, okay? There's a lot of waste, fraud, and abuse in the government, and nobody is better at cutting inefficiencies out of organizations than Elon Musk, okay? Nobody does it better than Elon, okay? And this is the main reason why these people are freaking out. They don't care that much about Elon Musk and what he says about elections. What they care most about is the fact that Elon Musk is going to take a chainsaw, kind of the same way that Milei did in Argentina, to the waste, fraud, and abuse that happens in our government, okay? This is part of the reason why they hate billionaires like Elon Musk, but they love billionaires like Mark Cuban, who is out here on the campaign trail stomping for Kamala Harris while looking like a butch lesbian. Take a look.
You know, in my career, I've learned a lot about business, including how tariffs work. Now, let me just ask you a question. You all know anybody who doesn't know how tariffs work? All right, I'll give you a hint. That other guy. Now, he has this crazy notion that putting a tariff of 60% on every single product imported from China is a good idea. Let me just tell you, this man has so little understanding of tariffs, he thinks that China pays for them. This is the same guy who also thought that Mexico would pay for the wall. So there's no Mexico. Did Mexico pay for that wall? Hell, no, you said it wrong. Hell no. That's what I'm talking about.
In terms of the targeting that he is talking about for a second term, and what we saw in his first term when he picked out individual businesses or sometimes individual business leaders who he wanted to use the government to punish, when he went after Amazon and Jeff Bezos, when he went after saying he wanted to go after Mark Zuckerberg, when he did other things that were targeting businesses because of what were perceived to be his political interests, I would have thought that that would have made him radioactive in the business world, because business people are too smart to think that they can always be on the right side of those calculations, right? That they won't ever be the one who's in the crosshairs once you've got somebody who uses the government that way to reward and punish his enemies and his friends.
Well, you don't hear a whole lot of CEOs other than Elon Musk, particularly of large companies, coming out and supporting him for that very reason. You know, you don't hear them condemning him because they're worried about his retribution or his vengeance. But literally, there's been nobody that I know other than Elon that has come out in support of him.
You recently said in an interview that some business leaders who are supporting Trump, with the caveat of what you just described in terms of, high-level leaders, not too many of them doing it. You said that some business leaders who are supporting Trump are doing it because they think they can manipulate him. Can you explain what you mean by that?
Yeah, it's very transactional. For the right amount, you can guide policy. I think you saw that with crypto. For Donald Trump to pretend that he's a CEO and knows how to run an organization and then to just leave his organization hanging so that Elon Musk not only has to take over his ground game, but fund it. I mean, that's just insane. I mean, literally, if he is the CEO he pretends to be, Donald Trump should say, no, I don't want you involved. Yeah, I'll take your money to help it, but why do I need you? Because I know how to make this work.
So, David, what do you say to Mark?
Yeah, well, Mark Cuban is obviously, listen, he obviously knows nothing about politics, right? So to assume that Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, Barack Obama, any political candidate who's running for president can explain in granular detail their GOTV plan for the last 72 hours or their ground game in granular detail it's just farcical, So I look, Mark Cuban's a nice guy. I know him a little bit. He sticks to Shark Tank, stick to investing. He's out of his depth here.
Yeah, I agree with David Irving, right? I think that Mark Cuban is out of his depth. I think that he is projecting a lot, okay? I mean, that's what the whole Democrat Party is built on, projecting. Like, for example, this guy was talking about how, well, the few billionaires, the few business people that are supporting Trump, they're supporting him because they think they can manipulate him, right? And I'm sitting here thinking, isn't that what you're doing to Kamala Harris, right? You're one of Kamala Harris's biggest single donors, right? And you are advising her campaign. You already came out and said that you want a position, you want to be the head of the SEC, okay, which, again, in my opinion, I think Mark Cuban wants that position so that he can go after his business opponents, right? That's why I think he really wants that position. He wants to weaponize government for his own use, and he's clearly buying Kamala Harris in order to accomplish that goal, right? I mean, that's what he's done. As a billionaire, he saw Kamala Harris as an empty suit, an empty head, because she is an empty head. And he said, you know what? I can influence this empty head. All I have to do is just throw some dollars at her, right? And guess what? Now all of a sudden you have Kamala Harris out here running around talking about startups like she knows anything about running a business or starting a business. Well, why is she doing these things? It's because that is what Mark Cuban is telling her to say, okay? I guarantee you, if you ask Kamala Harris what is an MVP, she's not going to be able to tell you. She can't explain it. She doesn't understand startup culture or startup language, okay? She doesn't know anything about that. But she pretends she does because she's been fed talking points from Mark Cuban. Now, what I find to be hilarious about Mark Cuban is the same thing I found to be hilarious about most men who are supporting Democrats, Kamala Harris, is that they seem to instantly become more feminine, right? I mean, Mark Cuban, again, looks like a lesbian on a campaign trail, and he looks a lot less masculine than he used to look when he was more neutral, okay? Why is it that all these Democrat men, they all kind of look the same? They all kind of look like lesbians. They all kind of look like women, okay? They're very feminine. Okay, is that a requirement to be a Democrat, right? To be a feminine man? It's a pretty disturbing pattern that we're seeing, that once you see it, you can't unsee it, right? And that seems to be what has happened to Mark Cuban, okay? He's now like Tim Walz and Doug Emhoff and Josh Shapiro, like just very feminine dudes, okay? I just think that it's turning off a lot of men in this country. I think they're doing more damage to Kamala Harris than good, but hey, what do I know? I'm just some dude on the internet. Mark Cuban is a billionaire that thinks that he knows everything, okay, that he's God's gift to earth. I think he's just a guy that is mad that Trump did not take his advice and that Trump did not allow himself to be bought and sold the same way that Kamala Harris allowed herself to be bought and sold and influenced by Mark Cuban. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.